Mario, it's the Honduki project. Since we've last seen it, I noticed you put an engine in.
Yeah, so I made the spacers for the back, got the engine aligned in the chassis and swing arm correctly.
Now, did you have to modify the swing arm at all?
No, actually I didn't. I just had to do spacers, which
so
made it good.
I'm going to try to point for the camera right there.
That
right
spacer.
There. Yeah.
And then
either side of the shock there.
Yeah.
And it pinches the engine essentially.
Yeah, and gets it lined up good. So we took care of that. Made a new upper motor mount for both sides. Now this is just temporary to make sure that my bends and my bolt holes were going to line up. We're going to make it out of thicker material. In result of that, I made the front ones, but the front ones need to be modified because in the current form, it was pushing the engine too far back and I couldn't get the air boot onto the carburetor. So I lowered it slightly. I got to remake those. But it was able to, by doing that, was able to get me so I could get the carburetor and all that, and air boot.
Now, did you have to lean the engine forward a little bit?
Yeah, the engine's leaned forward a little bit.
It brings this back up, correct?
Well, by rotating that, yeah, it picks the carburetor up a little bit.
Did that give you the clearance?
It gave me the clearance. It made it better. I mean, it's not ideal, like 100%, but it's very limited. There's not a whole lot I can do. So it's going to work. It should be good. So I have to remake the fronts. And then I need to figure out what I'm going to do to reinforce the chassis back here because
you just
I removed the structure.
It was a section going from this side to that side, right?
Yeah, it was this piece.
Yeah, hold that in there if you could.
What, you want it in the...
No, like show us in the frame where it went. Like
Yeah, it was kind of like this.
Okay.
You know, down underneath.
Yeah, you would have had no room.
None.
How did the Suzuki setup work? Did it go up and over that?
No, the Suzuki setup was different. It didn't have any of this. The actual crossbar was higher. The people before lowered everything down, but on an LTR, it's up higher and the throttle body goes underneath it.
Oh, so that structure was built by the previous modification they made to fit this engine. And again, what are we working with for years? This is a 07 Honda CRF 450.
Yeah, but 04 to 08 are essentially the same.
Okay, so it's in that time frame. Honda engine in a Suzuki 07 LTR frame.
Yeah, which, again, 06 to 08 LTR were the same. The only difference in 09, it had an aluminum subframe.
Okay, and this was the model. It was different than the Z400. This was actually made for motocross. It was wider, right? It came 50 inches wide, and it had this center. I always like that center exhaust that stuck out.
Yep.
So what are you going to do? You're going to have an airbox here.
Yeah, so I'm waiting on another subframe because this one's bent. I'm also waiting on a muffler. Once I have the muffler, then that'll allow me to make the airbox because I'll know where.
My question is, where's the muffler going to rest?
It's going to go in the middle.
It'll stay centered like
that's what I'm trying to do, is do it in the middle, just like the LTR was.
Right.
And then the air boot or the airbox will be, kind of sort of in the same place that the LTR would be. So we're going to take care of that. And then, but again, I got to figure out how I'm going to be able to fix the...
Now you're going to brace it. That's what you're trying to figure out?
I have to brace it, but I have to brace it in a way that carburetor can come out to be serviced.
Oh, are you thinking maybe something removable?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm still toying with a couple of ideas, but I've been working on other stuff. So we'll see. But that's the gist of where we are right now with it.
So the viewer's going to have to wait to see what you come up with?
It's going to be a little bit here. I'm hoping I can come up with a solution on the frame support rather quickly. I was kind of thinking maybe do like a hoop of some sort.
Yeah. Something with enough clearance to get that carb loose and out.
The problem is, though, too, is the way that it currently is, everything fits in there, but you kind of have to put the air boot on the carburetor before you put it in.
Mm-hmm.
And once I put something here, that's really not going to be
as easy as you can get in.
Because you have a lot of things tied into here.
Right, but once your airbox is sandwiched into your boot,
and the muffler.
I'm questioning how you're going to get separation enough to remove that.
Well, you might have to remove the airbox to get the air boot off the carburetor, which is one thing.
That would give yourself enough clearance.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have to do the whole subframe.
Yeah, but because then you got all the plastic and everything on.
Sure.
I know on dirt bikes, you most of the time on the older ones, you were pulling the subframe or rocking it up anyway to get that off. I don't really want to do that because, like I said, it's not a question of just unbolting subframe and pulling off if you have the plastic on there. You're dealing with all this stuff that's attached to the Nerf bar. So I really, if you have to get into the carburetor, it'd be nice just to be able to remove it. The one nice thing, though, that I see is this carburetor can actually rotate, not like a ton, but it can rotate enough that you could get to the pilot and main jet off the bottom and probably even get the carb bowl off. So you may not even have to do anything. You just loosen the clamps, rotate the carburetor, do what you have to do, and then put it back straight.
As opposed to removing the whole thing just to rejet.
Right.
Now, what else have you done? Motor mounts, the frame modification for the carburetor area. You plan on doing the airbox. Is it going to be like the airbox we did for the Honda Hybrid?
It'll be similar.
All aluminum?
Yeah, it'll be out of aluminum.
Hanging tabs? Or are you going to...
Yeah, I'm going to try to... I got to see how it all lands. This subframe has been all cut up. So the next subframe that I get, it should have the stock location of where the airbox mounted, and we'll see where that all goes. Otherwise, I might drill and put some nutserts in the frame, put some tabs on the airbox.
What subframe is this? Off of what?
No, this is an LTR subframe, but they cut the tabs off for the muffler and the tabs off for the airbox
when they were modifying it the first time. So this was an actual rolling riding unit, just had issues?
Apparently it was. I don't really know how that happened, but they had the exhaust come in and they had like the dirt bike muffler out in here, and it just got crushed. It wasn't situated right. So it's going to come out. I have to modify the head pipe. It's going to come out under here and attach. It's going to be tricky because we're using, I think, a Yoshimura LTR muffler, and I'm just hoping that where the entrance to it, the pipe, is underneath it here, and I don't have to severely modify the inlet to the muffler. But I don't know.
Do you have the head pipe yet?
I have the head pipe that came with it.
And it was something they modified?
I'm not sure what they did. I'm hoping I can use this. So hopefully I can use this.
This is a CRF head pipe for a dirt bike.
Yeah.
It's interesting that it actually popped it right through to where the Suzuki frame sits too.
So, well, this frame, like I said, OEM was up higher. So, but it does clear, so that's
right.
Good. But
now I need to modify that.
Yeah, I don't know yet. So, but that seems to work out okay right there so far. So the head pipe will work, and then the coolant hose will attach, and that should be good. So, that part of it should be all right. Got good clearance on the engine mount.
Good clearance. Now, I noticed you're putting the tab on the outside of the frame, whereas like these tabs you have mounted on the inside. I would think for side-to-side forces and everything, you would want these tabs on the inside.
I would like it on the inside, but like we saw in the other, that may not work. This side might work.
Yeah, so he has a bend in this one here.
Which I might be able to modify the bend to make it work.
Yeah, so that bend right there, he only has maybe 1/8 of an inch. So if he does move this tab to the inside of the frame rail, then that distance closes up. You might actually be rubbing your cylinder head.
Yeah, I can probably change the bend and then change the location of the hole slightly. That's why I made it out of thin material, just because we're, it's all just testing right now.
What will this eventually be made out of?
Most likely 3/16 steel.
And you're cutting that on the plasma table and then just adding a bend?
Yes.
Fairly easy to duplicate if anybody's interested?
Yeah, it shouldn't be that bad. Right, I mean, if somebody wants to do this, it shouldn't be that bad to duplicate. Once I get these thin plates dialed in, those will be my jig, and then I can replicate the bends and stuff if another set needs to be done.
Great. Well, we appreciate the update on the Honduki project. Can you give us a time frame when we can expect some more progress?
I'm hoping soon. I'm hoping to get the subframe and muffler within 2 weeks, probably more like a week. And then I'm going to be figuring out what I have to do structure-wise. So,
can we tell our viewer mid-February? We'll give you another update.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah.
2 weeks away. All right, guys. Thanks for checking out the video. Be sure to hit like and subscribe. We'll see you in the shop.